Before we dive into what might be one of the most important moments of the Dodgers' future, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because what you're about to hear is not just another quote, not just another off-season talking point, but something that could completely reshape how the Dodgers approach their next era. What Dave Roberts just said has sent shockwaves through the fanbase, and if you missed it, don't worry, because we're breaking it all down right now in a way that actually explains why this matters more than anyone initially realized. Over the last few days, Dodgers fans have been laser-focused on every word coming out of the organization, and for good reason. This team is standing at a crossroads. On one side, you've got championship expectations that never go away. On the other, you've got long-term planning that could define the franchise for the next decade. And right in the middle of all of that, Dave Roberts made comments that, at first glance, sounded calm, measured, even routine. But once you really listen, once you connect the dots, those words start to feel a lot heavier. Dave Roberts doesn't usually speak in absolutes. He chooses his language carefully, especially when talking about future talent, international players, and potential roster shifts. That's why when he addressed questions surrounding Roki Sasaki, the tone alone raised eyebrows across the baseball world. He didn't shut the door. He didn't deflect. And most importantly, he didn't downplay the situation. Instead, he spoke in a way that felt intentional. Almost like preparation. Roberts talked about talent evaluation, patience, timing, and how special players require special planning. That may sound generic to casual listeners, but Dodgers fans know better. This organization never speaks casually when it comes to elite-level arms. Every word is layered. Every pause means something. And when Roberts mentioned the importance of long-term alignment and organizational readiness, that's when things started to click. Because here's the truth that nobody is saying out loud enough. The Dodgers are not just thinking about next season. They're thinking about dominance. They're thinking about sustainability. They're thinking about building a rotation that can terrify the league not just for one playoff run, but for years. And when Dave Roberts speaks about future pitching in that context, it changes how you interpret everything. This isn't about hype. This isn't about headlines. This is about strategy. The Dodgers have already proven they're willing to think globally, invest patiently, and move aggressively when the moment is right. They've done it before, and they're positioned to do it again. What makes Roberts' comments so powerful is that they subtly confirm something fans have been speculating about for months. That the front office is not reacting to pressure. They're executing a plan. And that plan seems to involve a complete evolution of how the Dodgers' pitching staff could look in the near future. Roberts spoke about development pathways, health management, and making sure elite talent is put in a position to succeed rather than rushed. That's not just coach talk. That's philosophy. That's the Dodgers saying, we're not chasing headlines, we're building something unstoppable. Think about how different this sounds compared to previous years. In the past, Dodgers' messaging was about filling gaps, addressing immediate needs, and navigating injuries. Now, the language has shifted. Now it's about opportunity windows, timing alignments, and maximizing peak years. That tells you everything. What really stood out was how Roberts framed the idea of readiness. Not just physical readiness, but mental and organizational readiness. That's huge. That implies the Dodgers are willing to wait, adjust, and even restructure parts of the roster if it means landing the right piece at the right time. And that's where everything changes. Because when a manager as experienced as Dave Roberts speaks this openly about future possibilities, it sends a signal. Not just to fans, but to players, agents, and the rest of the league. The Dodgers are serious. They're prepared. And they're not backing off. This also explains some of the quieter moves the team has made recently. Moves that didn't dominate headlines but suddenly make a lot more sense in hindsight. Depth signings. Flexibility plays. Roster versatility. All of it feels like groundwork. And let's be real for a moment. The Dodgers don't make these kinds of preparations unless they believe the payoff is worth it. This organization doesn't gamble blindly. When they invest time, money, and planning, it's because they believe the result can change the balance of power. Roberts also touched on the idea of culture fit. That matters more than people realize. The Dodgers clubhouse has a specific identity: professional, disciplined, championship-driven. When he mentions that elite players must align with that culture, it's another subtle hint. This isn't just about raw talent. It's about fit. And that's why this situation feels different. Dodgers fans have heard rumors before. Big names. Big possibilities. But this time, the messaging feels coordinated. Calm. Confident. Almost inevitable. What makes this even more fascinating is the timing. The Dodgers are in a moment where they can afford patience. They're competitive. They're respected. They're financially flexible. That combination is dangerous for the rest of the league. Roberts didn't promise anything. He didn't confirm anything. But he also didn't close any doors. And sometimes, what isn't said is louder than what is. This is the kind of moment that, months from now, fans will look back on and say, that's when it started. That's when the narrative shifted. That's when the Dodgers showed their hand without actually revealing it. And let's talk about expectations. Because Dodgers fans are smart. They understand that not every rumor becomes reality. But they also understand patterns. And this pattern feels familiar. The quiet confidence. The long-term vision. The subtle signaling. This isn't hype for the sake of hype. This is calculated optimism. If this plan unfolds the way it seems to be lining up, the Dodgers' rotation could enter a completely new tier. Not just good. Not just elite. But era-defining. The kind of staff that changes how teams build lineups. The kind that makes postseason series feel over before they start. And Dave Roberts knows that. He's been around long enough to recognize moments like this. That's why his comments carried weight. That's why fans are dissecting every sentence. There's also a message here about trust. Roberts is trusting the process. Trusting the front office. Trusting the vision. That kind of alignment at the top of an organization is rare, and when it happens, it usually leads to something special. The Dodgers are telling the baseball world that they're not done evolving. They're not satisfied. And they're not afraid to think bigger than everyone else. So what does this all mean moving forward? It means Dodgers fans should pay close attention. Not just to rumors, but to actions. Watch how the roster is managed. Watch how flexibility is preserved. Watch how messaging stays consistent. Because when an organization moves like this, it's usually because the destination is already mapped out. Dave Roberts didn't change everything with one quote. But he confirmed that something big is already in motion. And that's what makes this moment so exciting. If you're a Dodgers fan, this is the kind of news that makes you lean forward. That makes you imagine what's coming. That makes you realize the future might be even brighter than you thought. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this is the beginning of something massive for the Dodgers? Or are they playing the long game smarter than ever? And if you want non-stop Dodgers updates like this, make sure you're subscribed, because this story is far from over, and when the next domino falls, you'll hear it here first.